And hello, my name is Thomas, aka MrWartburg, and this is the 30th episode of the MrWartburg Show. More importantly, though, it is the 200th video to go up on the MrWartburg channel. Now, my plans for the 200th video definitely changed very last minute. It just couldn't be helped. Car problems, a lot of different factors going into it, because it was about an hour and a half drive to get to the thing I wanted to go to, which was the PlayStation Road to Greatness event in Pocahontas, Iowa. But given what's right around the corner, and given how much I just love the subject and the sport in and of itself, this actually works pretty well for a 200th video and for the 38th episode as well, and that would be football. Obviously, as you can see by my attire, I'm an Iowa fan, and I'm a Viking fan. And I have a lot more memorabilia and stuff I could, get to, but because of the last-minute nature of this podcast, I couldn't track down my jerseys, which I think are still at my parents' house, except for the one that I really don't want to wear, just because it's kind of small, because I've, put on like 40 pounds in a year. So, yeah. So when I was thinking about what I could do for a football type video, I was actually thinking back to what I did for March Madness when I did my favorite, Iowa Hawkeyes March Madness memories. So what I'm going to do is run through 10 different, these are my favorite football memories, in terms of what I've been watching. Obviously, I couldn't play football because of, having Crohn's disease and, kidney issues and stuff as a kid, so they wouldn't let me play. But I've been watching football since, pre-kindergarten, and I knew I was a Vikings fan pretty much since birth. I've been watching them. Some of my first memories and some of my earliest memories, the one I don't want to mention, let's just say I was 8 going on 9, and a thing happened in the playoffs, much like what happened last year in the playoffs, and I kind of wanted to kick a chair through a TV. So, yeah, it's not always been an easy road as a Vikings football fan. As many people know, we're kind of the Cubs of the NFL, and I'm hoping, though, this year that might break, but I know I'm more cautious than hopeful, because I know the hope will be there, and then it'll get crushed so epically, and everyone will go, well, it is Minnesota. But screw the negativity. Today we're talking about my 10 favorite, period. Now, these are in no specific order, though the ones at the top are definitely a little bit higher on the list than the others, and that should be pretty clear once I actually tell you what they are. So, starting off with number 10. So, number 10, I think, happened in, I want to say it was 2001, I think. I was cutting stalks for my dad. I was in the tractor on a Sunday, which sucked, because I know he put me in the tractor on the Sunday, and the radio barely worked. But at the end of the first half, I heard this call from Paul Allen, who is probably the best radio guy in NFL right now. The guy's just freaking awesome on the radio, and just for football in general. And it was against Denver. And I want to say it's Culpepper to Moss, and I have the footage going here. It was Culpepper to Moss. He caught it at the 5 or 6 or whatever, maybe even closer back further to the 10 or 15. And then as he's getting tackled, flips it over the shoulder to Mill Williams for a touchdown. It was awesome. There was that moment. I stopped the tractor, shut off the PTO, and I was like, did I hear him call that right? And then I went home. The very first thing I did was turn on Fox to see when they were going to replay that video, because it was kind of being able to watch replays even. And it was just an awesome moment that I really wish I'd been able to see live, but I heard it live. And so maybe if I'd seen it live, it'd have been higher on the list. But still, an awesome moment and a hell of a highlight video. Number 9 was actually a year later, and it's an Iowa memory. This was after the USC debacle in the Orange Bowl, which, much like the Rose Bowl that happened this past year, speed kills Iowa's defensive schemes, specifically at the linebacker level, and that just kind of murdered us in both of those big bowl games. At least from what I remember, I haven't watched that USC Orange Bowl in a very long time. I want to say I was back in high school when I watched a replay of it, but anyway, a year after that, or the season after that, we went to Syracuse in the Carrier Dome, and we went to the second overtime. I want to say we were even 14th ranked in the nation, so we probably shouldn't have been in the second overtime with freaking Syracuse. But we had an epic goal line stand. I think it was 8 plays, on the 2, and a couple even extra too that were first and goals from the 10. And it was just a crazy long sequence of stop after stop after stop after stop, and just some great defensive effort. And that was one of my earlier Hawkeye memories going, that was fucking cool. Number 8, back to the NFL. This one is a little more recent. It would actually be one of my favorite players, Jared Allen. His is the jersey I was thinking about wearing, but I can't find it, so I think it's at my parents' place. But that would be his chase for 22.5 sacks in the NFL record. He got to 22 on the last game of the season against Josh McCown, or one of the McCown brothers, I think, who was playing for Chicago at the time, and got to the 22, set the Vikings, team record, half a sack away from the NFL record, and it was an awesome season in an otherwise pretty much pointless season for the Vikings because nothing else was really going on. But his chase for the 22, it was epic, and he's one of my all-time favorite NFL players. He just was so fun to watch. Like the season after that, in 2012, the game it was like Thursday night against Tampa Bay. We were getting murdered, and then all of a sudden he gets in a fight, and like he gets his helmets ripped off by the offensive lineman, and his nose gets all bloody. Next play, 3rd and 10. Metrodome's going freaking crazy, and I'm going to miss the Metrodome, but I hear US Bank is maybe even louder than the Metrodome, which is cool. But the next play, 3rd and 10, boom, gets the sack. It was awesome. He's one of my all-time favorite players. I know it was kind of 2 highlights in one, but that's just because Jared Allen is so awesome. All right, number 7. This is one I actually was able to go to in person. It was my senior year of college, fall 2011. I was, going down to the University of Iowa with my step-grandpa, John, because his daughter has season tickets. So we went to the Iowa-Michigan game, Michigan coming to town, and I think it was like early October, memory serves. It was kind of cold, and I get a text from my buddy because I tweeted out that I'm going to the game, and my buddy from high school, he was at Iowa, said, "Hey, I'll save you a spot. Come to the student section." We were 4 rows up from the goal line, and we beat Michigan at home. It was an absolutely awesome event that I have one highlight from here, but it's really a lot more than that because it was just a hell of an experience for me as a football fan because Kinnick is awesome. I've gone 4 or 5 times, and every time it's been awesome. We've lost twice, which sucks. Northern Illinois, god damn it. But it just, so frustratingly, it just pissed me off. But every time has been an amazing experience at Kinnick, and there's a lot of Big Ten stadiums I want to get to, but Kinnick is, and for most people should be at the top of the list, near the top of the list for, you want to go to some cool stadiums, Kinnick's awesome. Okay, sticking with the Hawkeyes for number 6 here, and that would be the 2009 season to preserve the undefeated streak on the road against Michigan State. Stanzik to McNutt, no time left, slant route, got the inside position, ball game. Like, I was in college at the time, and my dorm room exploded because it was a night game, and everyone was rushing out into the hallways. It was like when Farouk Manesh in the March Madness hit that shot against Kansas. Everyone just went fucking nuts in the state of Iowa. Everyone, whether or not you were even a Hawkeye fan, it was one of those moments that just is going to replay in people's minds for a very, very long time. All right, well, we're going to keep sticking with the Hawkeyes here for a few more, just because there have been a lot of recent ones that have stuck with me more than the Vikings, just because outside of a couple seasons lately, Vikings haven't been, epic. So the next one on the list would be Sean Green just absolutely murdering everyone in his path in 2008. If he had came back for his senior year in 2009, I'm pretty, confident we'd have been competing to go to the national championship and not to the Orange Bowl, which we beat Georgia Tech in. He was an absolute beast that season. I mean, he was the only running back in the country to have over 100 yards every single game, and he just ran through everyone. Sadly, his NFL career didn't, become that level of good because he'd already be one of the all-time greats if he was that consistently good in NFL. But that season was fantastic. Won the Doak Walker Award. I think that's how you say his name, Doak Walker. I don't really remember the award's name, but he won the best running back in the NCAA for that year, and it was a hell of a season. Next one. This one's from the past season for Iowa. There's a few memories I could have gone with. I could have gone with the Marshall Kane kick against Pitt, which kind of set the tone for the season for our, ended our non-conference slate, kicked it off with a bang. That the Bruce Greenwood walking out, Greenwood coming out of the tunnel to lead us out for that game. That was just an emotionally charged whole game. But I ended up going with something that kind of gives me hope for this season too, just because how it happened. This would have been the game against Indiana. It was a dogfight back and forth on the road. Beathard had been hurt ever since that Pitt game. I'm pretty sure it was when he was dived to set up the kick for Kane that he hurt his groin, and he'd been hurt the entire season from that point on. Still evades the pressure, gets to the sideline, jumps over 3 Indiana players, touchdown, take the lead, or maybe it was to extend the lead. I can't remember quite, but it was just one of those gutsy plays that make me go, Beathard, this senior season is going to be something special if he can stay healthy, because moments like that were just peppered throughout every game of the entire season, whether he was healthy or not. He's just this X factor that makes everybody around him better just because he's going to go put it all on the line. All right, number 3, again, sticking with Iowa. This one was from that Orange Bowl I referenced. This would have been post-game. We beat Georgia Tech. Everyone's saying all that option's going to run those slow Iowa defenders out of the building. which that's the wrong kind of speed. Iowa, the over-the-top speed is going to kill us, not the lateral side-to-side bullshit. That's what we are built to stop. That's what our linebackers fucking do. And Georgia Tech didn't have an answer for our defense, period. They just couldn't. I think they had, was it Darius Hayward-Bay was the wide receiver? Didn't matter. Our linebackers were too damn good, and we just shut the door on their run. It was awesome. But after the game, the best moment happened, and I'm just gonna play the clip because it was great.
There's nothing better than being American. So, I mean, this is the greatest feeling. If you don't love it, leave it. USA, #1.
Seriously, really Stanzi, somebody better give him a shot in the NFL at some point because he's Stanzi the fucking man. I just want to see him just get a touchdown in the NFL. It'd be awesome. Because I think he's still playing. I want to see, he was like, last time I heard he was a backup for Kansas City, but I don't know. All right, so sticking with Iowa for the number 2 on the list. This one is an all-time Iowa Hawkeye memory for, pretty much the entire fan base, no matter what your age is, even if you can remember, the Hayden Fry heydays. But this was 2005, the Capital One Bowl, New Year's Day against defending national champions LSU. I think it was Saban's last game at LSU. And the clock was winding down. We were making a comeback. Drew Tate was, firing on all cylinders in that last drive. 9 seconds left. Don't call a timeout. Clock's still running. He goes out right, and Gary Dolphin hears the call.
Now they got to call timeout. They wind the clock. 9 seconds to play, and Drew Tate doesn't know that. The game's going to end on this play. He fires downfield. It's caught, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa! No time on the clock. I don't believe what I just saw. Touchdown, Iowa!
Okay, the last one on my list, much like number 2, very similar type play. Last-minute heroics from an all-time great quarterback, this time in Brett Favre, because I'm going with the Vikings. This was his second game with the Vikings, and everyone was still trying to get a handle on, okay, is he, washed up? Is he, is this the last gasp, of a, future Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer, even then? And that's that. The throw to Greg Lewis, the back of the end zone against San Francisco, on the run, giving it all he's got from, I want to say, about the 40, and just drills the pass. We win the game. That set the tone for what I think he should have won the MVP for that whole season. And it may be his best season, period, in his career. And that play got the entire fan base energized after a few years of just general incompetence in the front office and at the quarterback position, and just some really bad years. And it really just immediately flipped the switch, and all of a sudden, everyone was excited for the Vikings again. So those are my favorite top 10 football, collegiate, pro, doesn't matter memories. So what are yours? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Hit me up at MrWartburg on Twitter to shoot me topic ideas. And I'll see you next week.